Ceelo Green rose to prominence off of his talent, gimmicks, and musical ability. Before Ceelo Green emerged as a solo artist, he had a lucrative hand behind the scenes in the music industry, contributing background vocals for popular acts and writing several songs. He was a part of not one but two critically acclaimed groups, the first being Goody Mob, a socially conscious group that focused on politics and was sonically more hip-hop leaning. They released 6 studio albums, the most recent being released in 2020, featuring the likes of Andre 3000. Mostly, all of their albums border on being well received or critically acclaimed. Green's first 2 albums, Ceelo Green and His Perfect Imperfections and Ceelo Green is the Soul Machine, despite their somewhat quirky and somewhat pretentious titles, did nothing to move the needle for his career into popularity, although they did garner some critical recognition. They were released in 2002 and 2004, respectively. His second group is one that's more well known to the general public, and is a group that will also eventually serve as the catalyst for Ceelo Green's solo career. The duo went by the name of Gnarls Barkley. It was formed by 2 members, Ceelo, who performed, wrote, and sung the songs, and Danger Mouse, who produced their albums. Gnarls Barkley had a short but effective run, and would become the perfect vehicle for Ceelo Green's solo career. Gnarls Barkley's breakout hit and debut single Crazy was released in 2006 and became an international smash hit. With Ceelo's distinctive soulful voice soaring on the chorus, it became the first song powered to the #1 position in the UK, solely based on digital downloads. What's a bit shocking considering the serious and soulful nature of this song is that it was allegedly originally intended for the Pussycat Dolls. It's a very hard song to imagine anyone else singing, but especially an act like the Pussycat Dolls, because this song is so eerie and really defined by Ceelo's vocal performance. The Dolls eventually went with another hit song that Ceelo wrote called Don't Ya, and Gnarls Barkley drove Crazy to the top of the charts. Gnarls Barkley was supposed to be a short project and they were only supposed to do 1 album. But after Crazy, things shifted, and they released their second album, The Odd Couple, only 2 years after their first album, Street Elsewhere. The second album would be released in 2008. Both albums were well received. However, Crazy remains their biggest hit. Since then, they've had plans for creating another album, and attempted many comebacks. However, something always prevented it, and they experienced a lot of timing issues. But it is confirmed they have already started on a 3rd album. After Gnarls Barkley, Ceelo would embark on his solo career in 2010, which resulted in the worldwide smash Forget You, better known by the explicit title F You, which is a song co-written by Bruno Mars. F You went top 5 in multiple countries, an indication of its global success. F You was a nice standout for a lot of the monotoned pop music during that time. It had a noticeably more 60s and Motown-inspired sound. It's much more funky compared to your average pop song, and complemented Ceelo's nasally soulful voice so well. This song is usually described as a breakup anthem, and while it certainly can be interpreted that way, according to Ceelo, it is actually a song about the music industry and his record label during that time. Ceelo would eventually come to release his 3rd album, The Lady Killer, in 2010. What a title. Lady Killer kind of sounded like it could be a title for a Bond movie, Ceelo says. It also kind of implied what I wanted sonically, something edgy and elegant at the same time, something urban and international at the same time. The concept of the album is essentially about a bitter, scorned man who results to becoming a lady killer, literally. It's a bit of a weird, interesting, yet realistic concept. It's more so weird, especially when these themes are coupled with Motown 60s and 50s sounds that sound more upbeat, and a lot of times even sound happy, but I guess that could be interpreted as intentional. Lady killer is a condition, and you say, well, what caused this, Ceelo says. The same way if you ask, how did Peter Parker become Spider-Man? Well, he got bit by a radioactive spider. How did Lady Killer become a lady killer? He got his heart broken. Ceelo's Lady Killer became more of a success across the pond in the UK. In fact, Forget You is the only track from the Lady Killer album to crack the charts in the USA. 5 of the tracks with the inclusion of F You cracked the UK charts. Ceelo's success in USA doesn't really surprise me that much when compared to other countries. As a solo act in Gnarls Barkley, He only received one major hit with each in the USA. I will say he was carving a nice path for himself in 2010's pop music. We didn't exactly have a widely noticeable singer that was able to merge Motown influences or more soulful R&B influenced pop music, while being successful at it in the 2010s decade. But I would say Bruno Mars would eventually fill and dominate the lane that Ceelo was pushing into a new generation and seemed to be aiming for. Bruno is more pop-friendly, more attractive, and doesn't come across as nearly as pastiche and gimmicky as Ceelo does sometimes. Although both of their work can come across as pastiche sometimes, I think Ceelo has the image of a novelty act, while simultaneously having the talent of a credible artist, which in a lot of respects he is a credible artist. But his solo marketing aims more towards niche instead of popular music. Ceelo would eventually become a coach for the popular TV show The Voice. He allegedly raked in $2 million to $6 million for his work on The Voice. From there on, Ceelo would have a lucrative career outside of music and in music. In 2012, one of his biggest endeavors came alongside the queen of pop herself, Madonna. He joined her in what was a pretty great halftime show to sing the classic song Like a Prayer. He also had many other endeavors. He voiced the character of Moray the Mummy and was becoming more of a socialite and personality, appearing on many award shows and having minor roles in TV shows. He even had his own brief reality TV show, Ceelo Green's The Good Life, which would eventually get cancelled as a result of his actions. Ceelo managed to destroy his career, image, and brand when he was finally beginning to build it up, and seemed to be on a path of becoming a widely known household name. He was accused of sexual assault, however charges weren't filed due to there being a lack of evidence. He eventually pleaded no contest to one felony count of supplying ecstasy, and he was sentenced to probation and community service. However, it was really the tweets that he made regarding the incident that made him lose steam and a bunch of beneficial deals. In a series of tweets, he rambled on about his case. People who have really been remember, if someone is passed out, they're not even with you consciously, so with implies consent. When someone breaks on a home, there's broken glass, whereas you're plausible proof that anyone is. Green had tweeted an apology before deleting his account entirely. The tweets read, "Let me first praise God for exoneration, fairness, and freedom. Secondly, I sincerely apologize for my comments being taken so far out of context. I only intended on a healthy exchange to help heal those who love me from the pain I had already caused from this. Please forgive me, as it was your support that got me through this to begin with. I never condone the harm of any women. Thank you." Which is just a very bad apology to say the least. And it's needless to say, the fallout was swift. His show got cancelled, he left The Voice, and he wasn't nearly as saturated as he had once become. In 2015, he released his fifth album, Heart Blanche, which flopped and likewise wasn't well received. In 2017, Ceelo latched onto a meme after his gold campy outfit to the Grammys, and he's done subtle things to try to re-emerge in the spotlight or garner more attention. Like, for instance, he released a song called Jay-Z's Girl, which is about his infatuation with Beyonce. Yeah, if releasing a song about your lust for another man's wife, who also happens to be very well known, doesn't scream desperate, I don't know what does. But it at very least was a bold move. Nothing has been able to quite cement him along with his music back into the spotlight. He even went as far to stage a fake explosion for promo, which made news internationally. He obviously craves to be a star, but no one cares for the gimmick. He still releases music, most recently an album in 2020 called Ceelo Green is Thomas Calloway. Bad branding, his allegations, and odious views ultimately led to his own star fading, and Ceelo has no one to blame for that but himself. Ultimately, the only work we have worth salvaging from Ceelo is the work that became popular. His best work is his most popular, the hits like F You and Crazy. And as far as Ceelo himself, I find that he worked better as a man behind the scenes. He's done backgrounds for artists like TLC, Tyler the Creator, and the Pussycat Dolls. He's also written songs for PCD, Macy Gray, and a plethora of other singers. Ceelo's image as an artist is very hard to take seriously. It's way too novelty. And Ceelo as a person is even more questionable. Despite his success, I didn't see Ceelo lasting long anyways. But I did see him becoming more of a personality like a lot of idol and The Voice judges tend to do, especially after their pop careers have ran its course. And well, he did for a period of time, but it was short-lived, much like his success as a solo artist, and it was all because of his own wrongdoing.